What's up, guys? This is Jake Miller, and you are watching BestFan.
One day you'll come running back. Whoa, but it'll be too late for that.
What's up, Best Fans? I'm Sharon, Bhella, hanging out today with Jake Miller in
up?
Toronto. We're so excited to be chatting with you today.
I'm so excited to be here.
How's the start of your day in Toronto?
Good. Just did sound check. I was greeted by a fan who gave me 2 jerseys, Raptors and Blue Jays. So it's like Christmas today. It's awesome.
It's a good day. We've been a fan since a long time back when like First Flight Home came out. So a lot has changed since then. But the first question we love to chat about is the most recent songs.
Yeah.
So you put out a bunch of new songs lately. It looks like 2 EPs came out this year.
Yeah, 2. Based on a True Story came out earlier this year. I don't remember which month. And then that was my first project with Sony Red, my new label. And then recently I put out Summer 19, which is 5 songs I made over the summer with all different vibes. And yeah, I'm just really proud of where my music has gone and how I've grown as a musician, as a producer, as a songwriter. I'm really excited to get on stage every night and see how like these songs translate with the crowd. They go crazy for these new songs. So I'm really proud of myself.
They're really good. And I've seen you post on Instagram that you've been producing your own music too, and you would say that your producing skills are like really up there with like the A+ producers. How did that start? Like, when did you decide to get into that side of things?
It started about 3 years ago. I was going through some personal things, and my label and me had just separated, and up to that point, the record label was kind of doing a lot of it for me, and getting beats for me and getting me in the studio with all these writers and producers, and they were pretty much doing the song making for me, and I was just kind of sitting in the back seat, and I didn't really like that. And so when I separated from my label about 3 or 4 years ago, I decided to just go to Guitar Center, buy a bunch of equipment that I had just recognized from thousands of different studio sessions and going to people's houses for studio sessions. And I bought all this equipment. I learned how to use it. I was on YouTube every day just kind of teaching myself how to produce and play the piano. And now, fast forward to now, I feel really, really comfortable on the piano. I practice probably an hour a day when I'm home, and I just watch so many YouTube tutorials, and I have people come over and help me and teach me. And so I'm just very big into learning and doing as many things as you can by yourself. So at this point, I know how to play the drums, the guitar, the piano. I want to learn saxophone next. So I just want to keep filling my brain.
So some of the song lyrics we want to know. Could have been you, but LA effing changed me. And trust me when I say for the better. I moved on because he made me. Now my cologne's on a new girl's sweater. So LA, you've talked about LA a lot in your songs. Tell us about that one.
LA I think is just notorious for making people a little weird and crazy, especially if like you go there to pursue a dream and like 10 years later it's still not happening, and you're surrounded by a bunch of other people who are just like kind of putting you, maybe going to parties or events that like you shouldn't be going to, and instead you should be at home working. And so I've fortunately fallen into the good side of it, and I know that I have just because my parents and my family and my friends would never let me turn into this weird LA crazy person. But I've stayed focused. I've changed for the better 100%, whether it's from a relationship or a breakup or just because I want to remain the same person that I've always been. But I know that LA hasn't changed me in a bad way. It's only made me want to work harder and want to become a better musician, and that's the reason I moved there to begin with, was to pursue music. So the last thing I would do is go out there and get caught up in the wrong things. So yeah.
That actually flows really nicely into our next question. What would you say is the best compliment about your character or personality that someone has given you?
My mom knows that I love the pink Starbursts, but when we're sharing a pack of Starbursts, I'll give her all the pinks. And so she'll always be like, you're like the most giving person. Like I just want the people who are around me to have, more happiness than I care to have for myself. So I just want my friends and my family to be really happy. Like the other day we were on the last tour, we were throwing the first pitch at the Marlins game, and I was on the mound throwing the first pitch, but all I could think about is how like my friends were on the field with me, and they were getting to experience being on an MLB field for the first time. And like, to me, that thought was cooler than me throwing the first pitch.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard to say what your favorite compliment about yourself is, because that's you kind of have to humble yourself. But.
Yeah. What is a question that you kind of wish more people asked you in interviews that you don't really get asked, or that you would like to talk more about?
I feel like I've been doing this for a while now, so I've gained new fans over the last few years. Maybe someone just discovered me last night at the last show. Maybe someone discovered me 2 years ago. But only like the diehard fans know like how I started. like in 2011, and the fact that like I turned down like 8 college applications after getting into all the colleges I wanted to go to, and I think like that whole story, I don't think too many of my fans know. And like I was going in one direction my whole life. I studied super hard, top of my class in high school, you know, got like a 31 on my ACTs, and then right before I was supposed to start as a freshman at college, like literally a month before, I told everyone I'm not going to college at all. I'm going to pursue music, and everybody was like blown away. But my parents supported me, and they gave me 1 year. They said if you stay at home for 1 year, work on music. If nothing happens, then you can go to school a year late. And if something happens,
Could you do
keep
that?
going.
Could you like defer your acceptance?
Yeah. Well, that's what I
Probably
did.
reapply.
Yeah, you would just reapply, exactly. And so, but in my mind, I knew I was never gonna go to college. I was just gonna work as hard as possible and just make sure that it worked.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's actually really cool. I didn't know that story, and I've been listening to music for a while, but yeah.
Thank
You for sharing. And since we're from BestFan, we need to know, what are you a best fan of? And also, what do you want to share with your best fans? So 2 questions at
What am
once.
I best fan of? Like anything?
Yeah.
Chipotle. I love Chipotle.
Uh-huh.
I love my friends. I love being on tour. I wish tour would never end. And what do I want to share with my fans? Thank you guys so much for following me. I hope you love the new music. Obviously, new music is coming soon, right when I get off tour, and then another tour in 2020, probably 2, knowing us.
Back to Toronto, of course.
Yes, hopefully, hopefully. Yeah, I mean, it's been too long since I've been in Toronto, so I'm glad to be here.
Awesome. Well, thank
Yeah.
you so much for chatting with us. This was so much fun.
Appreciate it.
Here with Jake Miller, I'm Sharon Bhella signing out.
I